Welcome to Understand the Math. If you're looking for a simple, step-by-step way to find the midpoint between 2 points, you're in the right place. In this video, I'll walk through 5 example problems, breaking them down so that you can see exactly how the midpoint formula works. Whether you're learning this for the first time or reviewing for a test, you'll leave with a clear understanding and confidence to solve these problems on your own. Let's dive into our first example and see how this works. In this example, we're going to find the midpoint between 0.21 and 0.45. This is the same as finding the midpoint of the line segment with these two endpoints. The midpoint between these 2 points is the point located halfway between them. The midpoint formula is going to help us find this point. To apply the formula, we're going to take our point on the left and we're going to label it as x1, y1. And we're going to take our point on the right and we're going to label it as x2, y2. The midpoint M between these 2 points is the number halfway between the x values. These are our x values, 2 and 4, equal to x1 and x2. And the number halfway between the y values. These are 1 and 5, which are y1 and y2. Let's now apply this formula to our example. To find M, we're going to take the 2 x values, add them together, and then divide by 2. So this is going to be 2 plus 4 divided by 2. And then the 2 y values, which are highlighted in pink, we're going to add together and divide that by 2. Our midpoint is then 6 divided by 2, and then 6 divided by 2, and this point is equal to 3,3. Point 3,3 is then the midpoint between these 2 points. Let's now use this formula on our second example. We're going to begin by labeling our first point x1, y1, and our second point x2, y2. Our midpoint between these 2 points is then our x values added together, so that's 2 plus 6 divided by 2, and then our y values added together, minus 5 plus 1 divided by 2. This gives us 2 plus 6, which is 8 divided by 2. And then minus 5 plus 1 is a minus 4 divided by 2. And that gives us the point 4 minus 2. The point 4 minus 2 is the point halfway between 2 minus 5 and 6, 1. Let's try another example. You may want to pause the video and see if you can complete this example on your own. Just as before, we're going to label our points x1, y1, and then x2, y2. And then we'll use our midpoint formula to compute M. M is going to be our x values added, so that's minus 8 minus 1 divided by 2. And then we have 4 minus 6 divided by 2. This gives us a minus 9 divided by 2 for our first coordinate. And then 4 minus 6 is a minus 2 divided by 2 for our second coordinate. And we'll write this point as minus 9 halves and minus 1. Since we're working with fractions, we're going to leave the x value as a minus 9 halves, but then you can see we simplified the y value and made it equal to minus 1. Our fourth example is different than our first 3 examples because in this example, we're going to be adding fractions that have the same denominator. Let's see how this works. Just as before, we're going to start by labeling our first point x1, y1, and then our second point x2, y2. Let's find our x-coordinate first. Our x-coordinate is going to be x1 plus x2 all divided by 2. This is going to be 1/2 plus 3/2 divided by 2, 1/2 plus 3/2 is 4/2 divided by 2. 4/2 is just 2, so we have 2 divided by 2, and that's equal to 1. Let's now do our y-coordinate. We have y1 plus y2. We're going to divide that by 2. This gives us 1/3 plus 8/3 divided by 2. 1/3 plus 8/3 is 9/3 divided by 2. We'll simplify the 9/3 first. 9 divided by 3 is 3, so we end up with a 3/2. We can then write that our midpoint M is equal to 1 3/2. I find when you work with fractions, it's easier to compute the x-coordinate and then to compute the y-coordinate. Let's now look at our last example. This is our hardest example because we're going to be adding fractions with different denominators. Just as before, we're going to start by labeling our first point x1, y1, and then our second point x2, y2. Let's find our x-coordinate first. So we have x1 plus x2 divided by 2. Our x1 is minus 1/3, and then our x2 is a minus 1/2, and we divide that by 2. To do this type of problem, you can get a common denominator, or you can do something that's a little bit easier. I find that it's easier if you multiply 3 times 2, which is 6, and then multiply the top and bottom both by 6. This gives us minus 6 divided by 3, minus 6 divided by 2, all divided by 12. This is equal to minus 2 minus 3 divided by 12, which gives us minus 5 divided by 12. Let's do the same thing for our y-coordinate. We have y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Our y1 is 1/4, and then our y2 is 2/5, and we divide that by 2. We're going to take 4, multiply it by 5, and then multiply the top and bottom by that number. That's just like multiplying by 1. This gives us 20 divided by 4 plus 40 divided by 5, all divided by 40. 20 divided by 4 is 5, and then 40 divided by 5 is 8. So we have 5 plus 8 divided by 40, which is 13 divided by 40. We can then write our midpoint as the point minus 5 divided by 12, and then 13 divided by 40. And that's it. Now you know exactly how to find the midpoint between 2 points using the midpoint formula. If you followed along and understood at least one example, you're already making great progress. The best way to solidify your understanding is to practice. So try a few problems on your own and see how it goes.
If this video has been helpful to you, please consider subscribing to my channel. Keep believing in yourself and have a great rest of your day.